Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar, they're Benjamin Shelton. There's some really tough guys. Really can come after me. Benjamin Shelton, all these different guys that I've had the opportunity to see.
Hey guys, we got another here issue with Shelton Benjamin coming on Hulk Hogan when Hulk Hogan says his name incorrectly. And this is the Hulk Hogan hate continues. Let's talk more about the locker room and toss ring scandal, aka KDH.
I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of letting people think they got a chance. The tribal chief is head and shoulders above everybody.
Hey guys, this is Toss Ring Scandal. We're here at the locker room, Turnbuckle King in the building. We are going to talk about today with Shelton Benjamin Raw for what he said. You guys get the likes up because we know we about to air some dirty laundry on this one. Now, we're going to play the clip of what Hulk Hogan said about Shelton Benjamin, but this was the whole tweet that Shelton Benjamin had that he said towards Hulk Hogan. He said, here, you lost me forever with your don't get caught, as you would call it, apology speech. So rather than screw up my name, pretend we never had any sort of camaraderie. We never had, please do me a favor. And of course, the Will Smith meme, keep my name out your mouth. Now, he's referring to the 2015 when Hulk Hogan got caught with apology for the racial slurs back in the day, 10 years ago. Now, MVP, he said on his tweet here, pathological lying piece of human excrement. Now, MVP, he is not a fan of anything that when it comes to racial slurs or anything, whether they apologize or not. So I'm not surprised to see this response from MVP. Now, we know that currently Shelton Benjamin, he is in AEW. He is currently one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions alongside Bobby Lashley with the slogan, "We hurt people," of the Hurt Syndicate. And definitely Shelton Benjamin, I guess he's going by his moniker, they hurt people, so he's going to hurt Hulk Hogan. But the whole hatred towards Hulk Hogan, this been going on all year long, if you guys really think about it. Let's do a quick recap on that.
Another wrestler decides he's going to decide who wins. There's no other way you can say it. He's a piece of shit.
Hogan in the Royal Rumble. I'll throw his dusty ass over the top rope.
Are you ever gonna rock with Hulk Hogan?
Look, Hogan again. I've glossed over it a little bit. Hogan's always been great to me. He was a guy who I was a fan of when I was growing up. He's always been personally good to me. But I've seen I'm not stupid. Like, I see everything that's out there, and he's someone who is I think a victim of his own ego a little bit, and he just doesn't understand how what he does affects people around him. I think he just lives in this space that he's created for himself, that he shaped his worldview, and this is how he's going to see things. And I think if you're going to be like that, and people are gonna treat you accordingly. I don't know what to tell you, you know what I mean? But it's just like any other relationship. Like, dude, if you are not a good person, and it's in your moral ethic to not treat everyone with the same respect, regardless of what they do or where they.
Now, we have heard Scott Steiner did an interview with Chris Van Fleet. He did not like Hulk Hogan. Now, he's from the Hulk Hogan era over the booking. He said Hulk Hogan screwed him over, even though that was about 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. Then we also had CM Punk did the promo on Monday Night Raw, said he'll throw Hulk Hogan over the top rope, referring to the Royal Rumble. That was happening in February. Then we had Seth Rollins did an interview with RG3, was talking about even though Hulk Hogan didn't do anything to Seth Rollins, he said he don't like it for what he did. He said how that make you look as a person. It still makes you look bad despite him apologizing. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, there's no thing. I never heard anything Hulk Hogan did personally to either one of those men. Scott Steiner, I could say, he may have a better reason because it was booking. But everybody this year, most people, we heard this like the 4th or 5th time we heard this year that people have hatred towards Hulk Hogan. Was it wrong what he did years ago with the racial slur? Absolutely, it was. It recorded, it was wrong for him to say that. But since then, Hulk Hogan has apologized. He's turned over a new leaf. He's even gave his life to God. He's got recently married for a third time. He was baptized I think a couple years, maybe I think a year or two ago. But thing about it is Hulk Hogan, he wasn't trying to say anything disrespectful towards, Benjamin Shelton Benjamin. See, I almost said his name wrong, but Hulk Hogan, we gotta realize too. I know people not gonna like this. Hulk Hogan, the man is 70-some years old. He had countless back surgeries. Now, I'm not saying that it's still right for what Hogan did, but yes, when people get up in age, they're gonna get names wrong. They're gonna say the name wrong. Now, Shelton Benjamin, he didn't mean no harm. But we're gonna listen to what he had to say here on TMZ Sports here.
This is freestyle wrestling or amateur wrestling, but on a professional level, Hulk. Tell us about what you got going on here with you and your buddy Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, well, it all started out with the beer, the real American beer, just like the Hulk Hogan name. The Hulk Hogan's got over 1,000 licenses out there for products. We started out with real American beer. It was an open lane. One of the huge companies messed up their marketing plan, so I saw this open lane for a light beer that could bring America back together. So we started out with that new brand, real American beer, and all of a sudden we're looking for all these opportunities. And Eric Bischoff, myself, my partner Chad Bronstein, we're always looking for that Wild Wild West deal. And all of a sudden, we're talking about TV and the industry and stuff, and I'm noticing the reality TV and the scripted stuff isn't popping and cracking like it used to be, but live sports is really taking over. The new volleyball league, Shaun White, the snowboard league, Left Lane was backing those guys. Now they're behind us. And all of a sudden, since wrestling at its core is what I'm all about, I've been in the ring with some really crazy wrestlers. Like I got Brock Lesnar right after he left the UFC. I got him first. I got Kurt Angle when his eyeballs used to roll back like a shark and he'd come after me. Benjamin Shelton, all these different guys that I've had the opportunity to see adapt to our business. I said, something? There's something there with these amateur guys because they don't get to continue their career. They either go to UFC and they do the striking or they get a normal job like a mailman or electrician. And I said, with my partner, I said, let me call Eric because there's something here. And Chad and Eric put our heads together and we said, these guys don't have a chance to continue their professional career. But since we can pay them now, it's real American professional because they're getting paid freestyle wrestling. And all of a sudden, man, we grabbed Izzy Martinez and he's the coach of all coaches. He's coached some of the Olympic athletes, NCAA champions. We've got such a crazy team together. And we put out a couple little teasers to kind of let people know what we're doing. This thing's taken off like crazy. It's part of the real American beer brand, which is rolled into wrestling. And now we're up to no good. We're going to do all kind of stuff.
That's incredible, Hulk. And obviously you look at MMA and what the UFC has done. Absolutely massive. It's crazy how the sport has grown. And you're right. There's nothing that exists for wrestling. How big can this be?
Well, we've even got a crazy female division that's going to grow and grow and grow. But when you talk about how big it can be, I've seen what's happened with the UFC even before Dana White got it. Vince McMahon and I, about, good God, 35, 40 years ago, took a look at it. I can't even remember how long ago it was. And we had no idea it was going to turn into what it was. But when you ask how big can it be, because of the reaction with, the freestyle wrestling and the amateur wrestling and the Olympics, when I think about the UFC and the WWE, we're not competitive at all with these guys, but we have a chance to be just as big as them. So that's what I'm looking for because everybody loves the wrestling, the freestyle wrestling. You don't get stuck on the mat. You got to get back up. And what we're going to do is kind of like shoot these packages so that you care about the athletes, kind of like The Voice. Where if you're a wrestling brother, we're going to find out why you started. We had no idea you came from a broken home. We had no idea that, your brother committed suicide. We had no idea that you're an honor student in college, all the backstory. So by the time these wrestlers can come out, you're going to actually be vested in these athletes. And it's just really going to ramp up because I thought maybe these amateur wrestlers were kind of dull, but I was wrong. I've been hanging out with them. They have all got that Conor McGregor swagger. They've been watching TV. They've been watching the wrestling. They know how to run their mouths. They know what branding's all about. So not only the wrestling career that we can pay up to 7 digits at the end of the day. Also, their licensing, their merchandise. We're getting ready to roll, brother.
That's incredible, Hulk. And I remember watching this and how much attention it got. Obviously, you've got a relationship with President Trump, and he was at the NCAA championships. That got a ton of attention. Did that factor into this at all, Hulk, or had this already been in the works? And hey, that's just
Now, Hulk Hogan, before he mentions Shelton Benjamin's name, he did mention him in the same breath as Brock Lesnar, multiple-time world champion UFC fighter, and Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. You know, it's not like he was trying to say anything bad about, Shelton Benjamin. He was just trying to give him his props, show him respect that he's a great performer, a great wrestler. Now, for those who don't know, Shelton Benjamin, he is an amateur wrestler, just like Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, and he trained with Brock Lesnar back in the day. They were even roommates at University of Minnesota. So, and I always said Shelton Benjamin is a great wrestler, underrated, don't get enough recognition like he should. And I think Hulk Hogan was just taking time to do that because he was taking time out to promote a new business venture that he's doing, like he said in the video, to for wrestlers that want to start a new wrestling company. He says he's not trying to compete with WWE or anything of sort. He's trying to do his own thing. And of course, we do know that Hulk Hogan has the Real American Beer. That's a part of sponsorship with WWE. Now, Hulk Hogan may not be wrestling anymore. He hasn't wrestled in years now. His last recorded match was back in 2012. He has been doing a lot of business ventures. He's still earning revenue. He's not sitting around, bankrupt or broken anything else. He's still doing his thing. Now he has his business here. He has the Real American Beer. He's just trying to continue doing business. He's not trying to cause any trouble. The only most trouble I heard this year that he's got into was, in which I covered on his channel, was about his daughter. His daughter spoke out against him and his ex-wife. The whole how she does not have a relationship. Brooke Hogan don't have a relationship with either Hulk Hogan or Linda Hogan. That's the most we heard this year. Other than that, everyone else has been saying the same thing. Anytime Hulk Hogan name comes up, it's something negative. Oh, Hulk Hogan's this, Hulk Hogan's that. Hulk Hogan's a POS. Hulk Hogan's trash. He's a scummy person on earth, like Becky Lynch said, which I covered a couple days ago. But the thing about it is, he's just trying to move on with his life. He's trying to do better. And everyone's still going to have that hatred towards Hulk Hogan. Now, I noticed for the current generation of superstars like CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Shelton Benjamin, they all have some negative to say towards Hulk Hogan because that's just the wave that's going on. Even the previous generation like Scott Steiner, no one wants to say anything good about Hulk Hogan. Now, we know Hulk Hogan's done a lot for wrestling business. We got to give him his credit where credit's due. Hulk Hogan did put pro wrestling on the map back with Hulkamania back in 1984. He's been in movies. He was the first person to really go public, and in a public eye of movies. I'm not saying the first ever to do a movie, period, but he did put it on the map way before The Rock, Batista, John Cena. He's also, he's one of the most prominent champions of all time, holding the WWE Championship, WCW Championship. Then, after his WWE run, he went to WCW, he had the Hulkster. Then later on went to start the legendary NWO, New World Order, alongside Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. And he's a two-time WWE Hall of Famer. Now, like I said, Hulk Hogan, he didn't mean to say his name wrong with Shelton Benjamin as far as that goes. It's not like he called Shelton Benjamin MVP, Bobby Lashley, Orlando Jordan. He didn't say the wrong person. He actually just said the name backwards. There was no harm in that. The only thing, my issue with Shelton Benjamin, if he had an issue with Hulk Hogan, why didn't he contact him in private? He could have went on social media, went his DMs, contact him privately, try to get his phone number, say, hey, I don't appreciate you saying my name wrong. You're familiar with my work at WWE. I appreciate you calling me Shelton Benjamin. Don't call me Benjamin Shelton. Because we do know he did say it twice on the Pat McAfee show and also TMZ Sports. So, Shelton Benjamin, it's no issue. that you had a problem with Hulk Hogan. It's no problem that he said your name wrong. Yes, you should say your name right, but it's the way how you go about it. You don't go on social media and pull the meme of Will Smith who slapped Chris Rock, one of the biggest embarrassments ever, and use that and say, "Oh, keep my name out your mouth," act like we never spoke. That was totally way out of line that Shelton Benjamin was doing. He didn't have to take it that far. I don't think he did. Some people may think otherwise, so it's just ridiculous. He didn't have to go that far. He could talk to the man in private. I'm pretty sure if Shelton Benjamin did talk to Hulk Hogan in private and say, "Hey, you say my name incorrectly twice. I appreciate you don't do that." Hulk Hogan would have had no problem with it. It would have been fine. They could have just took it from there and just wiped the slate clean. Making this public just to get attention. That's what I think most of these wrestlers are doing now. They're trying to get a pop, try to get attention off Hulk Hogan's name because Hulk Hogan is still a big name, legendary star, even at his age of 71, 72, however old he is. And they just want to do that and try to put the man down. And that's not how we should do things. Now we are in almost half the year is over already. We're in the 5th month of the year. How many more times this year that a current wrestler, WWE or AEW or any other promotion, is going to say something negative about Hulk Hogan? How many times we going to hear this? Because I guarantee you a couple more people are going to say his name once again. We're going to come right back here. Oh, this person said this about Hulk Hogan. He think it's just enough is enough, people. You ain't got to do that. So I think Shelton Benjamin should handle that a lot better. But that's all I have for what Shelton Benjamin wrong for what he said, talking about his response to Hulk Hogan saying his name incorrectly at TMZ Sports and Pat McAfee. You guys let me know what you think. Check out the content here at Toss Ring Scandal, aka KDH. Until then, guys, you already know what it is at this point. It's OUT.